let's get back to the book. You mentioned the book, the different organisations that the movement has established. Let's talk about education, because that's the one thing. I've had the opportunity through AIS to travel to places like Romania, to the United States, and to visit a number of charter schools. And for me, as Ojala Effendi said to us in his presence, he said, I want fewer mosques and more schools. And I thought, what a fantastic thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's beyond saying it. He believes it, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And the schools are models.
And they touch so many denominations.
Absolutely. And everything from science and math to humanities and literature to art and sports.
Yep.
So he has a comprehensive sense of what this should all be about. You know, it's not just the mind, it's the body.
He understands competition is good to do.
And I'll tell you my favorite Hizmet school story, because it's Australian, but forgive me, it's Sydney. Is that okay?
As a former Sydney boy, on this one occasion, I'll let you go.
Okay. So I visited, last time I was here, it's 7 years ago,
Okay.
the school in Sydney.
Changed.
Yeah, it may have, but if it has, only for the better.
Okay.
So I was introduced to the 11th and 12th graders, and on the grounds of the school, where there was space, they were actually cultivating organic vegetables.
Okay.
So you may be familiar with this.
Yes.
So first of all, the teachers provide a little bit of guidance, but basically it was on the students themselves to be responsible for this. So the first thing, of course, is that they came to understand what it takes to raise vegetables. You know, it's not just I go into the market and I buy them. A farmer is thinking about the rain, the sun, the soil, all of those kinds of things. So they got a real hands-on sense of what it takes to produce food. Second, they were then providing organic vegetables to the neighborhood, because organic vegetables are not easily come by in that neighborhood. Third of all, they're selling those vegetables. But the proceeds from the sale of the vegetables were being sent to a village in West Africa where they needed to put in a water system, and there was no funds, so they were also financing that. So they're both learning, it's both education, they're alleviating poverty, it's a social action, everything together. Thought and action.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What's your opinion about the Hizmet-inspired educational institutions that we see that have spawned around the world? And Gülen's philosophy, again, very much for him is, I need and want and desire and would love to see more people educated. He understands the challenge in Turkey.
Yes.
80 million people, not enough of them educated to the extent and
Right.
the level that he feels that would help the country to grow.
Well, the great excuse me, the great tragedy for Turkey is that Mr. Erdogan has shut down hundreds and hundreds of those schools, precisely in places where they're needed. And by the way, Hizmet schools get founded in all kinds of places, and most often, in the States at least, they're in inner cities where there are not good schools available. Hizmet school builders and school founders typically are very pioneering in where and how they choose to create schools. So they don't take the easy route. It's always the difficult route, because that is the challenging route, because that's what they're most comfortable with, accepting the challenge.
This experiment that you saw in Sydney,
Yes.
Can I just give you a heads up? While you've been away,
Uh-oh.
the Victorian school that I know best at Broadmeadows has also established a fabulous garden.
Mm-hmm.
And not only has it produced some wonderful produce, but they too have taken the option to create a project, raise funds, and support, again, more individuals and more towns and communities that needed funding in parts of the world, such as Africa. So it's not just the Sydney-siders that are showing the way. The Victorians too have reached out, and like John Effendi reminds us, we need to grow.